Trump changed Biden's AI chip rules. What now? Will it affect China trade talks? In the tech supremacy battle, Trump undoes Biden-era rule, prompting warnings that controls over Chinese chips may make their ecosystem stronger. Washington's recent revocation of Biden-era rules governing access to artificial intelligence chips does not mean that the U.S. is easing its curbs on China's technological development, according to analysts. Instead, they see the move as a more targeted approach being taken in the race for tech supremacy. Renewed tensions on the technology front could also add greater uncertainties to the ongoing trade talks between the world's two largest economies, which agreed earlier this month to a rollback of large-scale tariffs for 90 days. Compared with the AI diffusion rule that was issued in the waning days of Joe Biden's presidency and aimed to restrict the export of U.S. chips, new guidance from the administration of President Donald Trump prohibits the use of advanced Chinese chips. Do you have questions about the biggest topics and trends from around the world? Get the answers with SCMP Knowledge, our new platform of curated content, with explainers, FAQs, analyses, and infographics brought to you by our award-winning team. Trump's approach is more tactical, using trade tools and targeted controls rather than sweeping category-wide restrictions, said Joanne, a senior fellow at ICEA's, Yusof Ishak Institute in Singapore. For Beijing, such a curb is viewed as an existential challenge to its long-term development goals. The U.S. Bureau of Industry and Security, BIS, said last week that it had rescinded the AI diffusion rule laid out by the Biden administration, 2 days before the policy was set to enter effect. Clearly, both sides have policy priorities that collide with each other. Instead, Washington is tailoring its attacks specifically against China, by issuing advisories declaring that the use of Chinese chips is a violation of the U.S.'s export control rules, and restricting the use of U.S. chips to train AI models in China, a move that sparked protest and a warning from China. The U.S. also singled out some Ascend 910 chips, including some that had not even been officially confirmed, made by Huawei Technologies. The U.S., as clearly set in its 2022 national security strategy, wants to maintain a technological advantage over China, said Alfredo Montufar-Helu, a senior advisor at U.S.-based research group, the Conference Board. China, on the other hand, considers the building of tech self-reliance and the development of new productive forces as pillars of national security. Clearly, both sides have policy priorities that collide with each other. Ding Yifan, a senior fellow at the Institute of Global Governance and Development at Renmin University, said the Trump administration's idea was to limit Chinese chips' access to the international market. What the U.S. is doing now is trying to legally ban other countries from buying Chinese chips, so as to stop Chinese tech giants from utilizing the international market to advance their technology, he said. Montufar-Helu said the rule change also helps U.S. chips and related technologies remain competitive in the global market by eliminating market access barriers set by the AI diffusion rule. Jensen Huang, CEO of U.S.-based semiconductor giant Nvidia, said earlier this week that the idea behind AI diffusion, limiting other countries' access to American technology, is a mission that has been improperly executed. It should be about accelerating the adoption of American technology everywhere before it is too late, he reportedly said in an interview with Ben Thompson, founder of tech site Stratechery. If the goal is for America to lead, then AI diffusion did exactly the opposite of that. Nvidia is already suffering from a ban on selling H20 AI chips to Chinese customers. Following the Trump administration's ban on such chips, which Huang called deeply painful, he also lamented how heavy the losses would be, expecting that it would cut sales by $15 billion and force Nvidia to write off around $5.5 billion in inventory. Huang stressed the importance of competition and pointed to China's AI advancements. China's doing fantastic, he said, adding that 50% of the world's AI researchers are Chinese, and you are not going to hold them back. If we don't compete in China, and we allow the Chinese ecosystem to build a rich ecosystem, because we're not there to compete for it, and new platforms are developed and they're not American, at a time when the world is diffusing AI technology, their leadership and their technology will diffuse all around the world, he said. Technology will be a persistent flashpoint, regardless of any temporary tariff pauses or trade concessions. Beijing has pushed back, with the Commerce Ministry vowing on Wednesday to use its anti-foreign sanctions law if the US ban on Huawei chips is enforced. Analysts say the latest development also casts a shroud of uncertainty over trade negotiations between the two countries. The 90-day pause on tariffs is unlikely to change this dynamic, which is really a matter of national security rather than commerce. And Montufar-Helu said the truce that China and the US reached in Geneva, Switzerland, remains very fragile. What has been happening over the past few days not only suggests that it will take longer than expected for both sides to finalize a trade agreement, but also that it will do little to resolve the most critical issue underlying US-China competition, which is technological supremacy, he said.